righty. So today we are joined by Stephen Poole, who's the executive director of the United Educators Association. We're talking about some of the numbers that are coming out that are, it seems like we talk a lot about the COVID cases in each city, but when fine tuning, you'll see even the COVID cases reported from some of our school districts here in the Metroplex. And that is playing a big role in how things are moving along through this pandemic, especially with students being affected with their education. So, Stephen, joining us now, and what is your first reaction to some of the numbers that you're about to share with our listeners?
It's concerning. We need kids in the classrooms. We know that's where they're best served, and teachers want kids in the classroom. But as more active cases among staff occurs in our schools, and we're seeing it trending just like we're seeing it in our cities and counties, that's going to cause strains on our classroom. And there's not substitutes to cover for teachers that have to quarantine or isolate. So our school districts need to do a better job planning exactly what's going to occur when we have so many staff out of the class.
When we started the school year, there was a lot of concern about kids and the number of kids that would transmit the coronavirus to each other. We didn't really hear too much about the teachers at the start of the school year. Why the concentration now?
Well, it's just a perfect storm. We are now at one of the highest peaks of this pandemic as far as the number of cases and the positivity rate of tests being given. So we're seeing more cases of teachers either having to go out of the classroom and quarantine for 10 days because of their own positive test, or they're having to go out because of close contact. So I'm hopeful no one's getting sick or being hospitalized from it, but it is causing operational problems at the school because we don't have staff. We don't have teachers in a lot of our classrooms right now.
And consequently, when teachers are having to be sent home, classrooms are merged or teachers are just spread thin in trying to handle so many students, that also puts our students, not their education only, but their health also at risk.
Absolutely. School districts and schools are operating as if there is no pandemic. When there was a sub before, they would just combine classes, and they've been doing that all school year. But right now we're seeing even increased cases among students, especially the students who are unvaccinated. So why does it make sense to cram more kids into overcrowded classrooms when teachers are out quarantined? School districts are going to have to do a better job than what they're doing managing operational issues.
Break down some of the numbers that you've seen around school districts here in the North Texas area and where they were comparatively a couple of days ago.
Yeah, Fort Worth ISD is an example. They're reporting 256 active employees out with COVID right now. And just 2 days ago, that was 148. Arlington ISD had 50 more COVID staff cases just yesterday for a total of 246 this week. So you can see those numbers are increasing. And until we get beyond this Omicron wave, we're going to see more and more teachers and staff, bus drivers, cafeteria, custodians, principals having to quarantine, and everyone left in the building trying to take up the slack.
I might be remiss on this. I believe it was Michigan last week that was having just anyone and everyone be able to come and substitute. They didn't have any prerequisites. I mean, from bus drivers to custodians were stepping in to help out because there was such a big teacher shortage. Is that something that we might be leading to?
It's already occurring. Our teacher assistants are being pulled out of classrooms and being thrown in as teachers of record. There are a lot of bus drivers, office assistants, and others who are filling in a lot of different ways. But there are a lot of certified teachers, certified employees that are sitting in central administration buildings that can also come out and sub. We haven't seen that occur just yet.
The Chicago school districts decided to go all virtual. At what point will we start seeing school districts here in North Texas go back to virtual learning until this wave passes?
Well, the governor won't allow it. So that's one thing. But one thing that we will probably see is not just voluntarily, preemptively shutting down schools and going virtually. There will be school districts who will have to just for sheer lack of staff. And that's something school districts and unfortunately parents are going to have to be prepared for. But as for teachers, they would love to have the kids in the classroom. The school districts just need to figure out how to keep everyone in the school.
How are teachers doing right now with the fact that they know they can't take any time off, even if they want to feel sick, they might say, if it's not coronavirus, I'm still coming to work. I mean, there's so many factors in play, or maybe their own kids and their own home life is taking attention from them, then they have to stay home because of that. I can only imagine that they feel torn with their responsibilities.
Teachers are burned out. I was hopeful the Christmas break may relieve a little bit of pressure, but here we are back again in worse shape than we were even in the fall. So teachers are burned out. I am really concerned about the current teachers and the state of the profession altogether. Right now, who would want to go into teaching? And we're going to see these effects for many years to come.
We saw the impact of remote learning on students at the start of the pandemic, where they had to go into remote learning. Now they're back in school. The possibility of them going remote learning, how much is that going to hurt the education for the kids, having to flip-flop back and forth?
It absolutely did hurt. And that's why teachers want kids back in the classroom. They know that's where they perform best. So school districts, like I said, are going to have to find a way to make sure operationally our schools can continue, because we can't continue the way we have been.
I'm curious about it because it's been a while since I've been in school, to be quite honest. and so much has changed. Kids have iPads now and access to online portals to get their homework and whatnot. When a child has to go online, how much does the home teacher have control over that type of curriculum? Is it a shared curriculum throughout the state, or do they have to create PowerPoints or create this online content? How does that work?
Yeah, that's a big assumption that there's actually curriculum out there for online learning. There's not. Every district, every teacher fumbled their way through remote learning, and that's why it didn't work out very well. But teachers can only control so much through a computer screen. A lot of it was engagement among the students and parents, making sure that they were engaged. But again, in this day and age too, where everyone does have an iPad or a cell phone, we're still in situations where a lot of our students do not have access to internet or technology. And we saw the learning loss really impacted a lot of the students who are already behind. And so we cannot go back to a remote learning situation. So teachers are just begging for help. Help us manage through this storm right now. And that's on the superintendents and the HR directors and others to figure out a way forward.
The government said that this Omicron variant is going to probably peak by the end of the month, and then we'll start to see the cases drop into February. Can schools and teachers and students wait that long?
You know, the end of January is an eternity when it's only January 6th right now. So we're hanging on by our fingernails right now. And I'm concerned that we're going to see increased cases like we've seen over the last few days. Teachers just reported back to work Monday. In a lot of cases, kids didn't go back to school until yesterday. So we're going to see exponential increase of cases, and that's going to affect the operations of these schools.
What message do you have for teachers who are listening right now?
God bless you. You are doing the Lord's work and working with our students. So there's a special halo waiting for you, but also, hopefully the Calvary's on the way to assist, because what we have been doing for this school year so far is not working operationally. We need more resources into the schools and more people willing to volunteer to step into the breach.